Bo will never utter the words, "I'll tell you that for free," again for the rest of his life, because I don't think that was anything that he anticipated being his tagline, but it is now. So anyway, here's what Horvat said to Newsday. "I think the Vancouver fans were pretty upset with what I said last year. I think they took it more personal than I wanted them to take it. It wasn't directed at them. I was just more upset of how everything went down last year. When I heard him say it the first time, that was my first reaction. There's a guy who had a lousy last few months in a city that, for the most part, he grew to really enjoy and appreciated living here. But the exit was not pleasant because the team was horrible on the ice. He was the leader of it. He had obviously been made priority E, F, or G on the list of things to do, and he knew that his time was up. And when he got to New York, it was good feelings and good vibes, and I believe that game where he did his walk-off interview, they won. So he was feeling better. That was the end of it. But unfortunately for him, and according to our Dunbar Lumber text message in basket, a lot of people have not forgotten. A-Dog, you're a tried-and-true ardent Canucks fan. Where are you in this whole thing?
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I agree with Halford. I wouldn't boo him. He did the best that he could in his time in Vancouver with what he was given. He was as good of a captain as he could have been under the situation, and he scored a bunch of goals for the team. He was their best player many times.
I feel like
many games he was the best player on the ice for the Canucks. So I mean, yeah, I wouldn't boo him based on that one silly comment. Like as Jamie said,
it cheapens the boos. Honestly, I feel like it makes booing someone less powerful and less.
He didn't really do anything outside of that one comment.
Yeah.
I mean, as Jamie said, like 5-10 years from now, we're not even going to remember
and
it.
what he didn't do, and that's winning.
Well, sure, but I think the
it just
out,
seems so silly.
Listening to the clip again, and this is what I thought at the time too. The out is that, and now the question's a little muddled, but she first starts about asking him about playoff pushes. And in that context, I think clearly what he's saying is, yeah, playing for a team that's desperately trying to make the playoffs, that's like in the playoff race, has a legitimate chance at it, is better than a team that's out of the race by the end of October. Like, that's ultimately what he's saying. And somebody texted in here, any legit Canucks fan would agree that the past decade sucked. I'll tell you that for free. And I mean, I don't think he was saying like, oh yeah, I hated the fans in Vancouver. He was saying, yeah, it's nice to be in a team that's got a legitimate shot at the playoffs, which I think a lot of Canucks fans would agree.
Wouldn't there be some embarrassment though that you were the captain of those teams? Like, why would you make a joke about that when you were the guy leading those teams that you're making fun of now that were out of it, like you said, by December?
But what? He's
didn't
supposed
put the team together,
his
though.
fault. He's the leader of the team.
He's supposed to
together,
pretend
though.
that it's
silly.
it was just as fun doing death marches in Vancouver as it is.
I don't know if
playing
you get
in
to
front of a
trot
packed
out
house
there
going for the playoffs.
You don't get to take a victory lap when you were the guy at the head of the lineup during those years.
It's not a victory
lap.
lap.
Weird to me.
It's not a
Now,
victory lap.
This is an interesting conversation to have because you do bring up a point that when you're the captain, sometimes there's responsibilities and things that are foisted upon you that are, one, out of your control, and two, things that you have to shoulder that it just comes with the territory. It might be fair or not, but I don't think an NHL captaincy is a fair job to begin with. You are responsible for a lot more than is what's under your control.
Yeah, but the way the team played isn't his fault.
And the way the team was constructed wasn't his fault either. At the same time,
and he was often the best player.
At the same time, his legacy is going to be defined as kind of being a meh captain.
Well, yeah.
And that's, like I said, the most if we want to really go meta, the most appropriate response you can have on Wednesday night at Rogers Arena is a polite
golf clap.
Yeah, you were saying yesterday, yeah. A nice little nod.
He's going to be identified with a frustrating era of Vancouver hockey, and he has to wear that. That's fine. Like, he did not single-handedly, and again, I don't think he was the problem. I think this idea that, like, Bo Horvat was the one holding back the development of a good team culture, I don't buy that.
That's not fair.
But again, was he part of the solution? No. And that's fair to acknowledge. That doesn't mean he's a villain. That doesn't mean you have to boo him. It's just, he didn't turn the team around. It's fair
not like
to acknowledge
Mark
that.
Messier here, right? Like,
no.
It's a completely different.
No, but
not at that
It makes
level.
you say, hold on, wait a minute, when a guy like that goes elsewhere and then starts taking shots, though, right? Like, it does make you pause for a second when you're like, hold on.
I felt
you were part of that group.
I felt that the end of his tenure allowed him to be a little disgruntled at the very least.